And we're live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and monoliths, to that 6+++ show. I'm your host, Tom. I am back in Cambridge, where the internet is awful, so I reserve the right to disappear at any given moment. My team will cover for me. That's what they do. They're good people, and they've been doing it for a long time now, so this is not news to them. We are here tonight to talk the sorts of things you talk about when you should have had a data slate and you haven't, and you're still waiting, jonesing for balance. We just want that sweet hit of balance. We haven't had it yet, and we're just going to keep on waiting and making do in the meantime. It's tragedy.
Didn't realise I
Tragedy.
lived in a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon. I'm not opposed to it. Actually.
No, I'm here for that. I like that. So yeah, tonight we'll be chatting LVO. We're going to be talking about some stuff that went down involving Monolith. I'm sure you've already heard about. We've got some top tips, strategic tips from you in dealing with that in the future. We're going to talk a little bit about the meta generally as we get ready for the slate, and then we're going to talk about Dark Angels. Dark Angels had some rules out. I'm sure you've seen some of them, and I guess we can do an autopsy on that and how we feel about that. I've got a little bit of lore for you towards the end, and then we're going to do some podcast questions. As we say every week, should be a short, snappy show. As happens every week, it will be long and indulgent and windy, and who knows what's going to happen, but we'll do what we can. So, who have I got with me tonight? Well, first, as ever, is my dear leader, Chris. Chris, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm excellent. Pumped up on hams, as always.
Nice.
And have you done anything new in your hobby life, Chris?
I have. I've been painting World Eaters.
Yes.
Because we might well be taking them to teams, undecided at the moment.
We could. They're on the
we've
list.
got 3 people who are up for taking World Eaters. I'm the only one with a World Eaters army. So
I'd be able to take them, actually.
yeah.
I also don't have World Eaters.
Yeah. So I'm painting them. I gave myself the weekend to get as many of to get like the 8 bound as ready as I can. So they've kind of got base coats, washes, and they're fully based. So as and when I can be bothered, I'll be able to return to them and do all the pretty highlights. Then I've given myself this week to get the base colours down on the Berserkers, which is just a copious amount of gold trim. And
Absolutely.
then the next week would be the 10 Jackals and the 2 characters and just base colours, really. So hopefully we don't end up taking them, and then I don't have to worry about this sort of stuff. But in case I do, or in case we do, I have been working on that.
Bring them to practice and we can see if anyone falls in love, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, I've been building some old world because we are, of course, as you have seen in our Instagram story, we are going to be taking the plunge. I'm going to ruin anything, but February the 15th, keep those calendars free, boys and girls, because there is going to be something. Hopefully.
Something's going to happen.
Something's going to happen on February the 15th, day after Valentine's Day.
Most exciting thing.
You have no
Can't wait.
Me neither.
Awesome. And which? So you're not going to give away what you're building yet, are you? You can keep that close to your chest.
All I'll say is that it's causing me a great deal of stress trying to work out the game. I literally cannot. I mean, I've started to get there now, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy, Tom.
Okay.
It's not genuinely clicked with me. Maybe it's because I'm trying to avoid Sotek Green. I don't know. Everything that isn't
your life suddenly gets a lot more complicated.
It does, yeah. Like what? Not Sotek Green? Don't understand. And this army doesn't feel like a Sotek Green kind of army.
No, it doesn't. I agree. It doesn't. It could be in there, but it wouldn't be the thing.
I did buy some new paints today. Some new blues. Don't worry, they'll be blue. Some blues I didn't have.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. So bought some of that, but yeah, we'll see. We will see.
Mystery. Well, we'll wait and see about that. I'm also joined to that, as you can hear, by Davey. Davey, how are you, mate?
Oh, hello, everyone. Lovely to see you all. I'm good. I am on the back end of COVID, still struggling along, but doing okay, doing all right. I've just got the sore throat now, so I'm going to sporadically be muting myself to cough into the void. Speaking of the void, see you later, Tom. Good seeing you. Tom's just phasing out. If you can all check 3 inches behind you.
Contemporary joke.
Back again.
He just phased back in.
Your story was so boring I cut out.
That's fair. That's absolutely reasonable. Other than that, though, I've been just basically patiently waiting for the balanced data slate whilst doing YouTube videos. So I've done 2 videos, which I'll shamelessly plug now. One of them was an interview with JP after he got 3rd place at the Nottingham Super Major, which was really a really great chat. And the other one was my experience of taking Unending Swarm, having seen Sam Pope do so well with it at LVO. I thought, hey, I should probably jump on this horse now, and decided to get that video out there. It's I just took it the week before, and I think it's a really fun, really interesting detachment. It sounds disastrous to run, but actually, watch the video, guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's exciting. We'll see if you can get some more people on the Gaunt wagon. I'm sure you can.
Absolutely.
I'm also joined tonight by Ed. Ed, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
Wonderful. Is there anything new in your hobby life?
I've also been doing videos. I'm so sick of recording.
Yes.
Because you may have noticed that Dark Angels have got a book coming out, and we had 2 codexes come out at the same time. So for cracking the codex, we decided that this is AdMech week. So every day, Monday through Friday, there is a cracking the codex AdMech. And you might say, insanity. How long does it take you to record, prepare and record those? Way too long. So, just watch them all. Leave nice comments and give me thumbs up as validation for the lack of sleep I've been getting.
Absolutely. Yeah, of all the codexes to slave away on for a week, the AdMech one is a tough
most
gig,
interesting.
So well done for doing that. Yeah, the most fascinating.
I actually quite enjoyed
it.
The more I've looked at it, the more I've appreciated it, genuinely. And I think if they get some...
I know, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's a grower, I think.
If they get some interesting points changes come probably not Thursday, probably next Thursday, then, we'll be... I won't be doing them. The models are too spindly for me to want to lug around in a box, and they are such a high pound per point army that I just it's and sometimes there's an army that just doesn't you don't vibe with, so it's not for me.
Yeah,
tune in this time next month when Ed has a full AdMech army.
Is there a melee one in there? I always liked Riser in AdMech. That was always the one that appealed to me. The combat one.
There's a melee-ish one. So you can, and I've purged it. I purged the databanks after recording the video. But you will see, I believe it's the one that comes out on Thursday. One of the detachments, you can pick one of 2 buffs at the start of the game. You either get extra AP at half range, or you get +1 strength and +1 attack on the charge. Which is pretty cool. It's restricted to a very small handful of units, which is basically breaches, anything led by your technomancers, and then...
Technomancers? Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. Where the AdMech version. Yeah, so basically, it's just a very short list of units get the buff, which is upsetting. Because if it was on the Rust Stalkers or the Taraxi, suddenly that's interesting, but it's not on them. So.
The goons?
No.
That's a shame.
No.
So it's just basically the electric beasts.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah, Preachers and the Breachers and the Priests, and they're the 2 units. So there's something maybe there with taking Breachers. The list that we were playing around with does have 2 squads of 10 of the Priests
I love
in
that.
Boats.
I do like the Priests in Boats. That was always something I liked.
Getting them up to 3 attacks, they do dev wounds. It's vaguely interesting. I think there's something there. It's not necessarily the most competitive, but I think it's a fun way to play AdMech at the moment.
Yeah, nice. Awesome.
Yeah. I've also been doing Old World Hobby before we managed to miss that.
Oh, and let's not.
Yeah, I was going to do Chaos Warriors because I have 15-year-old models in a box that I lugged home at Christmas, and then someone else in the chat said, "Oh yeah, I've got my Chaos Warriors coming." So, great.
Yeah, it does go that way sometimes.
It does. So I've got quite outside my wheelhouse actually, and I've got here some High Elves, which is very not the sort of thing that I would have done back in day. So it's one of the only fantasy armies that I didn't collect, so I'm interested to put them on the table. They look solid.
They look like very cool models, and their playstyle was, I think, pretty fun, right? Because they used to castle up really.
I'll be going forwards.
Yeah, castle up and move forwards, right?
I feel like I've had the 2 battles I've watched. It feels like everything just goes. And then there's some real shenanigans once they hit each other, but you're always hitting each other.
Yeah, so For context, the list that I've written for 2,000 points, it'll probably change. You can have up to 1,000 points of characters. I've got like 952 points of my army.
I vibe with that. That's a way to live your life.
There are no dragons in there as well.
I was going to say, are they all on dragons? No.
There is a griffin and there is a phoenix, but no dragons.
Yes.
Excellent. Right, we're going to shout at some people in the chat. We've got Gitly Gaming, who says more like data's late. Yes, indeed, we'd like that. Says hashtag EdMech. Yep, EdMech, maybe that'll happen one day. Shirin says Monolith hype. Yep, it's going to be a lot of Monolith chat today. It's just going to happen. Ultimate Funk is in. Hello, Ultimate Funk, saying your sacrifice is valued, Ed. Don't write us off. Shirin is also here. Wonderful to have all of you here. Thanks very much for tuning in. We're very good at self-promotion, possibly the best. So we are going to do the Plus Roundup today. And Chris is going to take that away for us. Capitan, round up the Plus. Let's go.
Oh, it's just so much content.
We're fucking doing loads right now.
Too much content, I would say. So, yeah, there's a few things to talk about, actually. So, first of all, in terms of actual videos we've released, so we've got the matchup plus for Thousand Suns, Chaos Demons, and Imperial Knights. I think that was coming out. I think that was recorded last week or just before last week's podcast episode.
Yep.
So it came out just after that. Mm-hmm. We then released a bite-sized battle report. So Scrivo with his Dark Angels took on Aaron's Custodes. Just a short 25-minute battle report where they what they do is they do their movement phase. They talk about what the plan is for the turn. Then off camera they play the actual turn out, all the rolling of the dice, then come back and tell you what happened when, what went down, and it's just more about the tactics and the plays rather than the dice rolling.
Completely.
Going to be aiming to do more and more of those as the year progresses.
Yeah.
We've then got Unraveling the Secrets of the Awakened Dynasty for another Necron one. So another cracking Codex. We have my second episode of Road to the ITT. So what I'm doing is kind of chronicling our journey to the International Team Tournament at the beginning of February. Episode 1 was about choosing if you've got like 10, 15 players to choose from, what sort of things do you want to consider when choosing your squads or your teams. And episode 2 was how do you go about choosing your armies. In this case it's 5 armies. How are we going to go about choosing the 5 armies? I did a video on that, and they're around the 20-25 minute mark. And then this Friday will be episode 3, which will be about general things you can do as a team to prepare. How do you go about preparing for an event like this? And then, as Ed was saying, daily we have got AdMech coming out. So we've got, the Rad Zone Core was out yesterday. And then today was the Skitarii Hunter cohort, which is personally my favourite.
Yeah, it's my favourite as well.
So I think
it's the most interesting.
Should check that out. Seen a few battle reports, see who's using it, and it's definitely. If I could get 9 Dragoons and 6 to 12 Breachers, I would definitely be trying it out.
If you want to use Super Chat and give Chris 9 Dragoons worth of cash,
do
it now. Do it now, and he'll run them for the rest of the year.
It's only like 300 quid, guys.
Yeah.
So.
Chris will play AdMech until the end of the season if someone will donate 9.
Yeah, if you donate £300 right now,
that's my pledge. Yep.
Wait, you're coming at this the wrong way. You need to play the human element. If you donate that amount of money, Chris's dad will build the Dragoons.
Oh yeah,
that is actually true.
He actually does.
Chris will run them at events.
I forgot he builds all your chickens.
Yeah, 100%. He is.
They are hell models.
What a hero! What a hero!
Builder. He has last year. Or 2 years ago, whenever it was AdMech were good, he was running the War Factory. For sure. What else? Well, Davey's already alluded to his bug watch thing, so he interviewed JP about podium at a super major, and then he's also done his video on how to use Unending Swarm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like the live videos that we've kind of got out. And
it's a pretty good set. Sounds like quite a lot of stuff.
If you've been living under a rock, you might not know that we made a very special announcement last week on Friday. So for those of you who aren't interested and don't follow us on social media, this will be brand new, exciting information.
Yep.
But very randomly, last Wednesday, we got a message from Luxembourg, of all places. And it wasn't just anyone from Luxembourg. It was the captain of Team Luxembourg for World Team Championships. And basically, he said he really liked our content, and would we be interested in helping them prepare over the course of the season for the World Team Championships?
Yep.
And on top of that, would we be up for being like their coaches or helping coach them at the event itself? And we could make as much content about it as we desired to. So yeah, we kind of had a discussion as a team. We've bandied together 8 heroes who enjoy playing PCS, and can kind of like scrim against them. A few of us are going to go over there for the event. We've also been discussing potentially about just popping over during the year to Luxembourg just to say hi, hang out.
Just seems fun to me. It's an adventure, isn't it?
Start working on our dual passports, that sort of thing.
It's a really nice country. I've been there before.
I've never been.
So yeah, it's obviously like a really exciting opportunity for us, and we'll kind of go from there. Really see how it pans out. We'll be doing lots of content on it.
We like underdogs in this team. We do enjoy that, and it was a very fun and unexpected opportunity. And obviously, they've got in touch after listening to stuff we do and liking what we do. We are new to the team's world, still finding our feet, but I think this feels like a really fun way to sort of start stepping into that universe a bit more and get involved. And we're really excited to work with those guys over the next few months. I think it's gonna be a really good time.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. So yeah, that's kind of that's where we're at in terms of the old content Uno.
Yeah. Oh, I like that from Gitly Gaming. 6+ Luxembourg. That's very good.
Nice.
That's good. Excellent. Very, very good. Welcome Existence UK as well. Very nice to have you here. So we are going to move to our next line of reasoning. Now, Davey did have a tip for you, but Davey is otherwise engaged. He'll be back. He's got an excellent tip. And what I suggest we do is just start talking about LVO, and then as and when Davey reappears, put him on the spot to give us just the tip immediately, and just see how that fits into the overall narrative. So LVO has obviously just been and gone. This is still the biggest event in World 40K over in America, in Vegas, and a huge number of people attended. But there were a few interesting things that I think are worth exploring and commenting on, which is that there was a very small turnout and take-up from UK players over at LVO this time. Not particularly travelled, was it?
And Art of War.
And Art of War, indeed.
A single one of them went.
None of them went.
Last year was such a big deal, wasn't it? Because we had
Vic like the talk of the town.
Went over for the running. Loads of people were in the running. The Art of War people were in the running as well.
Yeah, that's
all the big UK and American names were neck and neck.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Art of War guys were saying that they just like moved house or something.
Yes, they have moved studios.
They kind of couldn't wangle it. The only reason Jack went was because he basically had his flights and hotel paid for. Yes. And in terms of UK, no one in UK was really going to be able to compete with Manny.
Yes. So this I think that was a key thing this year, wasn't it? Was that Manny was a long way ahead already, so it wasn't realistically going to be anybody taking that off him. One thing I did notice, though, looking at the faction individual Best in Faction awards, was that a ton of UK players won Best in Factions without having to travel, which is reflective of a slight shift in the balance there, right? If you're interested in ITC rankings and all those kinds of things, UK events are big now. Very big, very regular.
That Nottingham one, I didn't really particularly like. We were supposed we had 4 guys who went 4-1, and we were like, yeah, those points might well make our top 10 points. And then they were actually 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Comfortably, yeah.
Because it was just
I had 2 events I've been to and shat the bed running something stupid. And I'm looking at it, and they've both been really good space points.
Yeah,
you're an idiot. You're an idiot. What are you doing?
It turns out 350 per event score a lot of points. So, I think we've now, with LGT, Nottingham, and Coventry 3-Dayer and those sorts of things, we are in a much better position, our top players, to score a lot more points now.
I think so. Yeah, and so that's an interesting shift, and it's
obviously just that we have the better players. That's the
obviously.
It's nothing to do with the events. It's obvious when our players don't play, their players all year, and yet we have the highest score. The only explanation is that we're better. There's no possible maths.
It's a skill issue for sure, and undoubtedly, as it always is in 40k, wherever there's discrepancies, it
is a skill issue. And the skill that we have is Zach is very good at putting on big events. Big up Zach.
He really is. Yeah, he's done a number there. So it'll be interesting to see long term what the perception and opinion around that is. But actually, I felt like a little bit of magic and excitement of it was lost for that. I liked last year when it felt like it was all on
It
the
felt like
line.
everyone was there, but there was also, let's face it, quite a few of the UK went over and came back and didn't give it a glowing review.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in terms of the terrain, like I remember in his like tour, one of the there was quite a lot of
player placed and very variable boards. Right,
we heard a lot about like the terrain pack and the different boards that there were, and I was very aware of that. Going into this event, I had zero idea what the terrain pack was. I know they changed the player place slightly, but yeah, I didn't really know what the different boards were in that. Whereas I remember it was like a much more of a big deal last year. It just felt like I think last year it took a bit of a hit. Maybe a lot of the big names, content creators, kind of in the UK and Europe, kind of went over and went, this isn't that good, especially compared to what we're running or Zach's running in the UK TC events. So therefore, actually, it's not that big a deal. And let's face it, not many people can afford to fly over there every year.
Exactly.
You
And
make
it falls at a time of year that plus cost is tough for a lot of
Last year was a big deal, and this year it really wasn't. So it might well mean that next year and the year after is more of a big one again.
Yeah, I'd like that.
I mean,
I'd like a world where that and LGT are both a big deal, right?
2 years ago, I was like, I want to get to the next LVO. I
Is
mean,
that
not the one that. Yeah, and then I saw what they had on. I was like, I don't want to go, that much. I don't want to pay that much money for this. This.
I'll go for the story one day. I think it would be. It's a nice bucket list thing, isn't it?
I think that's it, isn't it? For me, it's one day, 1 year when I get an opportunity, I'd love to go. But
once we're millionaires from this, I reckon.
Well, that is true.
That would be the logical.
If you guys could super chat in right now, start our LVO collection, that'd be great.
I'll go and cast it if anyone wants a co-caster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really enjoyed the bit.
It would be good commentary. I'd love it on commentary. I think that'd be fun. Existence UK, you're absolutely right. Carl Grundy was there. There were some Vanguard tactics
He got
guys
top 16, didn't he?
Yeah, he did very well. So well done, Carl, for that. My boy Jake Harding took his Votan, absolute hero. Went, I think, 4-2. And had a really good time. Stephen Box had a good time before getting the Naden. The Naden happened to him. He got Nadened. It's happened to many good players. No shame in that whatsoever. Sean Capewell says 1 bajillion Ugandan dollars are in the post for you. So there you go, Chris. You're sorted. I think all that Luxembourgish money should sort us out. They're obviously stuffing our mouths with gold.
True, they are paying.
They've been able to acquire our services as mercenaries. We don't work cheap.
Oh, that was one other thing.
Big deal.
I was like, there's something else I forgot to mention. We received a message the other day from Snot Gaming.
Snot Gaming.
I think it's Snot Gaming. I'm going very quickly. Snot Goblin Gaming.
Snot Goblin Gaming.
Who are creating some terrain, which is like Lego kind of like modular fit terrain, and they're sending it out to messages out to various content creators about whether they would like to review the terrain. So I'm gonna be getting that terrain set end of January, beginning of February.
Exciting.
I'm going to do an independent review on it. It's not a paid promotion. It is an independent review. Maybe I should have done a paid promotion. That sounds like money for me. Oh well. It's not what we're about. I'm going to do an independent review, and then I'm going to use it in a battle report as well. And then I'm going to give it over to Lewis, who's going to use it in an event. And the idea being that you can kind of fit it and turn it into any sort of terrain system out there.
Yes.
I don't know much more than that, but obviously stay tuned for our review. Anyway, there's a mini advert in there.
Absolutely. No, yeah. And Shirini, I agree. I think UK American players, you don't want them in two camps. It's nice when they move over and switch between the two. I think probably the UK pulling its weight more in terms of scores is positive for that as well. And as much as we've seen Americans coming over this way, that's fun. But you don't want LVO to become irrelevant for sure. That would be bad. I'm sure there's reweighting that could be done if it came to that. Davey, we've been talking LVO, mate. Do you have any tips for people that want to win LVO?
Man, I mean, there's this thing that I've been working on recently where when you're deploying your army at the start of the game, you screen out a monolith from your backfield.
Okay, nice.
And what you do is you just put something down so you can't launch an enormous Titanic model and someone place it in your backfield. That's, I think,
it's a big one,
really
isn't it?
key.
I'm going to push back on this. This poor fucker. Like all he's going to be known for the next 2 years is the guy who in the finals got a monolith in his back line.
Yeah.
On turn
because
one.
making
Like,
the LVO final
10.
is already just such a phenomenal achievement.
Oh,
yeah. Is it game 11?
None of us
After
anywhere
Shadow
near
Round?
that.
It's game 10.
It's
the
there's
10th
so
game.
many games.
I have so much sympathy for you. If you see this, I'm so sorry, man. Like that sucks for you.
100%. Totally agree. Totally
absolutely
agree.
tough.
But it's kind of funny though, right?
It is. It's funny just because that's such a disaster situation.
We've all been there,
it's
right?
Going to happen to plenty of people. Yeah, well, exactly.
I did not the same thing, but something not dissimilar when I played against Mikey at Hellstorm at LGT 2021. He came down, went, "Is that Orc War Boss important to your list?" I was like, "Yeah, that's where all of my damage comes from." He's like, "Cool, I'm going to kill it," and just half tabled me on turn 1 with his drop pod marines. I was like, "Cool, I've learned a lesson. This was good."
I've definitely allowed drop pods straight down behind me before, without any doubt.
Did you see Inez's, was it his Twitter or something?
No.
Oh, let me try and find that. 1 minute.
Oh, dear.
Well, while you're pulling that up, Necrons, Monoliths, looking good. I'm not going to say that I was saying that Monoliths were incredible, but I was definitely surprised when John and I got some pushback for saying, talking about Monoliths in the Hypercrypt crack in the Codex. I don't think we
go back at you on it.
Reddit. So
I was just that half the stratagems in that detachment only work with one. So it's like
they're expensive, but I mean,
know they're expensive. But
we were talking about this. We were talking about this in a group chat like a week or so ago when we were driving back from LGT. Myself and Jack were theory crafting lists with multiple monoliths in, and this was in the index, and they only got better. Other stuff got better around them as well, but I'm a sucker for a big model like that, so I'm super pleased to see it do well.
I think Hypercrypt allows it to do a few things it wouldn't otherwise do, and it becomes
Move
a real centerpiece. Yeah, exactly. Move around, interface with the army. It does have good interplay with the army just on its base rules, but it can do even more in Hypercrypt. And at the end of the day, it's a big, tough, awesome model. So I think anything that gets a song out the Monolith is cool. I mean, it's worth shouting out Matt Laura, who won this event with the Big Balls Monolith play. Also, I believe it made a 6/6 save to stop itself from dying.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that.
Wow, that's
super
good
strong.
I've heard his name before.
Play, by the way.
I assume
Matt
just
Laura,
events.
he's had good runs at LVO before.
A couple of years ago,
Custodes,
3 years ago, when Custodes just came out, and Custodes were smashing everything. Everyone was taking bikes and whatever the main detachment was, and he went Shadow Keepers guard.
Yeah.
He went that, which was different, and he made it to like top 8 or top 16 or something like that.
Shadowkeepers was my least favourite one. That was awful.
-1 attack.
My favourite way to play.
Ruined every army I like.
Oh, sorry, -1 attack.
Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like that much. So yeah, well done, Matt Laura. That was obviously a very impressive run. And Hypercrypt is, let's face it, one of the more interesting. Yeah, skill intensive. You've got to use your assets in a different way. It's not just a raw stat check. It's got phenomenal play. I think it's a really interesting one to see it succeeding. I don't think it's going to be as easily replicable success-wise as Canoptek Core is, but I think it will maybe survive any changes Necrons get a bit better or be less impacted, given it relies on different things. And none of those things on their own appear to be egregious, I would say. So it's going to be very interesting. Monoliths, obviously. Stonks in Monoliths very high right now. Now, I like that. I think a lot of the indexes, a lot of the codexes have managed to make the big thing work one way or another.
Wraith Knights, they were quite good.
Angron, Wraith Knights, Magnus, Monoliths. It's very cool. Harley says the Eldar player lost on purpose so we don't get nerfed. You're going in the grave. You know you are. And I'm excited for it, Harley. It's time, phantasm your way into the ground where we will bury you. That's absolutely fine. It's time for the elves. They might get away with slightly lighter nerfs. Maybe that's why the slate's taking so long. They're just trying to work out how to adjust them in a way that manages to leave everyone annoyed, elf players and the people that want them dead.
That's sort of compromise.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wins.
Harley, if you like elves, come join us in Old World, because there's new elves.
Yeah, absolutely. Very exciting. I'm excited to see what elves do in Old World. I'm sure I'm going to love it. Absolutely. Okay, so I mean, I don't think there were many massive takeaways from LVO. In terms of the spread of armies, the balance, the win percentages, was there anything there that leapt out to you guys? It looked pretty good to me.
Admech was shit, weren't they? Admech didn't
have a good time, no.
Which is interesting, because they're like, they can bring some guns.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that they didn't just blow.
I think it's what you said before, Red. Right? It's like a bit of hobby lag in terms of not only is it lag, but it's also like bank loan lag.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, like
Gonna remortgage the
to buy
house.
this army, I need to take out an overdraft.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably one of the issues, and people just don't have it ready. Like, who has all those chickens ready? Especially because they were garbage last edition, right?
Interestingly, it was exactly the same when Admech came out last time. It took
Every time they
it
come
was
out.
a little while before the enormously expensive spindly build that was required this time was completed, and then suddenly it was just dominating.
I'm gonna hot take. There's nothing like that in the book at all. Like, there's not going to be anything like that discovered. But I think there will be good players putting up good results with specifically the Hunter cohort. It's just last time any Muppet could put planes and bricks of infantry on the board and do quite well. Pay attention when I'm talking to you, Chris.
I'm just going to upload something. Sorry, I'm just putting something on.
No, I was just shit talking you because you played Admech.
Right. Yeah.
It's fine. It was funnier if you were paying attention. It's okay.
Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
No,
it's fine.
Again. Do the super burn again, and I'll act all wounded.
Okay. What was I saying? So Skitarii cohort, yada yada yada. There's going to be some skilled players putting up good results with it. There won't be anything like the old results when any Muppet could put planes and bricks of infantry on the board.
Oh man, that's so insulting to Manny Chima.
Leave Manny Chima alone.
Oh no,
those bastards.
No, he was playing buddies at that time.
Adam
I remember
Lane and Mike Duff.
I was looking at his lists.
Do you remember you left your Admech planes at home? We went to an event and you left them at the house. Do you remember that? And you had to get a taxi back to go and rescue them.
Oh wow!
This was in London.
This was my first event
at Ben's.
I think.
Yeah, we went and we got on the bus to go to the event, and I was like, "Oh no, my planes are in the second box." So I had to get off the bus with Ben. Run back to the place, get a taxi in. I think we rocked up at the venue at like 9:30, like on the dot. And I was like just covered in sweat, panicking. Played into Dark Angels. Sent my mighty planes straight across the battlefield. They proceeded to do literally nothing, and then died. And then I lost the game. And I was like, excellent. Well, I'm glad I took these bad boys.
I love this hobby.
Such a great story, isn't it?
Good times.
Shout out to Ben. What a fucking homie. Coming with you when you've really dropped the ball. Well, he just came with you.
He just didn't trust me because it was his house.
It could all have been a ruse, right?
Yeah. He set up this team all just to walk out with Ben's TV.
Yeah.
It was the long con.
Yeah. I thought general LVO meta spread looked pretty good though. Nice
it did,
mix.
actually.
That
top 8 was pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, Orcs did well, Black Templars did well, Votan did well. There was a whole bunch of things. The LVO Nids did well, exactly.
Well, there was one Nid player in the top 8, and then after that, I think it was like the top 60. But it is amazing if you think of 5-0 players. Well, it came 40th.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, that's insane. That is so wow.
Yeah.
Or 4-1s, like, coming that high up as well. Like, it was really, really impressive.
Yeah.
But it's funny, isn't it? Because you'll see a lot of lists there that people might try and emulate in the UK. I don't know if you've touched on this already.
No, we haven't. No.
That it just won't work here.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a really great Nid list that's all Monster Mash. And we were talking about it in the Discord. I was like, all the power to him until we have player place terrain here, which, God, please don't rush to get that here.
Yes.
You like put a Monster Mash list on the UKTC and see how you do.
If it was good, I would be playing it.
I was going to say,
I fucking love my monsters.
That's Ed's favourite.
Look at that! It's in arm's reach at all times. I'm not sold. I'll have to have a look at his list and just see if maybe I've missed something. But
yeah, I mean,
you're all
Haruspex and stuff like that. Ed. Like Maleceptus, Haruspex, Exocrines.
There we go. Look at that. There's some win rates for you.
Oh yeah, it's working. I had to go full screen, so I can't see anything.
Followed by Deathwatch. I love that. And then Necron, Eldari, a bit more predictable. Dark Angels doing well for now. Thousand Suns had a good run, so I'm going to call up everyone at LVO, get them to teach me. And Black Templars. Yeah, just a whole spread of stuff. Gene Stealer Cults could hang. Very, very good. And then down the bottom, there's a few that you'd expect. So Demons, Drakari, Knights, Admech, Astra Militarum.
That's a surprise.
Nassim didn't go, did he? So.
Yeah, Nassim, that's a state of play that we have recorded that will be coming out. I'm very excited for talking guard. But guard definitely have some weak spots. And so, yeah, it's interesting looking at which ones were able to succeed. But certainly if you compare the win rates to what was actually up in the top, there was all sorts of stuff, people making all sorts of stuff happen. So the fact that we have a balanced slate inbound and the game already looks like that, that's good news. That's very good news. Maybe they'll make it worse. Maybe that's what the slate will do.
Seems, yeah. I quite like the 14 draws that Necrons had, which would imply that they drew against each other.
Yeah, it almost certainly is, isn't it? Just complete dead heats on the scores.
You're saying there's going to be an unbalanced data slate, Tom?
Well, yeah, I'm hoping so, because I want Drakari to become absolute world beaters again. That would be nice. That would be my absolute dream.
I think my least favourite time is when fucking Drakari are good at the game.
Well, then
and that's because
you have no taste, sir.
Well, no, keep in mind, since 8th edition, I've been playing against Rob Kimpton a lot.
Yeah. Rob will be quite a scary prospect if Drakari are very
Rob
good.
is a scary prospect.
Well, that's what I mean.
As well.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, that was LVO. As I say, not quite the sort of end of the season event that it has been in terms of its effect on the results, which again reflects changes overall globally. And the UK is a big old tournament machine these days, but still a lot of fun with some interesting stories. Deep striking Monolith and Hypercrit, look, that's just fun. That's just great. And in terms of the plays to be making in a final, you compare that to just going first with a bunch of planes, which is what was happening a little while back. Deep striking a Hail Mary Monolith in to win a final, I think, is just beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And to keep it so low key as well while he was doing it, because if you watch, the Eldar player takes their turn and the guy goes, "Okay, that's the end of my turn." Matt literally instantly picks up the Monolith. He's like,
"Kabam!"
He's worked it out in his head, and for him to be so chilled and be like, "Yeah, it's the final of LVO, and I'm going to drop a Monolith in your backfield," like that is really like some high level balls.
Yeah. So do watch out for that. Because people will be trying to do that. Absolutely do. Maybe we'll get... Chris, do you have a Monolith? Can we do a back row where you've got it?
That is next on my fun painting list.
Do it. Just do it. That'd be great. I'd love
it.
Back row with a Monolith, it would be great.
I do really want to try out Hypercrypt anyway. It's been the one that's appealing to me a lot. So, yeah, I'm definitely all aboard that Monolith train. Choo-choo.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Okay, well, next up we have... Oh, it's a sad time. We're going to talk about Dark Angels, right? We've had some leaks on Dark Angels. We've been shown what's coming for Dark Angels. A lot of stuff being announced in Warcom. Obviously, that book is coming out, and there have been some big changes. Got to pull one out for our friends.
I've not really paid any attention to
Deathwing Knights.
The incessant whining from half our team. Because
the Deathwing Knights.
Dark Angels. Yeah. So do you want to fill us in? Because I don't really know, apart from they now suck balls.
Well, I don't think they do as such, but they've changed a lot. They've got some
well,
cool
we don't
stuff.
like change.
No, we don't like change. The big thing is that the Deathwing Knights, the Solve Everything unit of Dark Angels for the last 3 years, have eaten some big changes. So unit size 5 at max. That's already rough. Then they've gone to -1 AP damage 2 on their big hitty weapons.
Oh, that's scary.
They were -1 damage 3 before.
They were damage 3 before. Yeah.
Ooh.
And
Catan like that, I imagine.
Catan do like that. Catan like that a lot. And then the points shown for them are also very expensive. So couple that with the fact that a lot of Dark Angels units have gone out of rotation as well. There's a few that have disappeared. I can't remember exactly which ones off the top of my head. I think maybe the Deathwing Command Squad went.
Yeah, the Command
Talon
Squad.
Master finally went.
Master's gone, yeah.
And I've seen the Talon Master abused in so many forms for so many years.
I've never seen the Talon Master played as you'd expect something like that to be played.
No,
it's only ever been played when it's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. It's
the
always
only time.
Absolute nonsense. And I think Shirini says Dark Angels are absolutely fine. People are just mad you can't take 20 Deathwing Knights despite, not being supposed to spam units. I completely agree, Shirini. I think there's some good stuff there. I think the Deathwing detachment has some fun looking tricks in.
We know that, but Dark Angels players don't know that.
They don't know that.
Well, but why can't I put 30 in my army?
They're a bit sad, and they keep appealing to their 40% win rate, which ignores the fact that most Dark Angels players have just been running Dark Angels in different detachments for most of this edition so far anyway. And
That's the thing to note as well. We've
story.
still got 10 detachments to choose from.
Yeah, which I wasn't sure they'd get. They've got more detachment choice than anybody else, and they can lose most of their games with all of them. And I think that's really exciting. I think that's a really good place to be starting from. Maybe the data slate is going to... Imagine if the data slate just puts the old Deathwing Knights back in.
I wouldn't be surprised if their points go back to a reasonable level. Like that, I'm expecting that.
The points do seem nuts to me.
Yeah.
But there's, I mean, for those who haven't seen it, there's some quite fun turn 1 deep striking, close deep striking stuff you can do with Deathwing.
3-inch deep striking.
But if that had been on a 10 Deathwing Knight brick, a lot of new players are just instantly losing.
Hold on. Can Dark Angels take a Monolith? Because that might solve their...
that would help a lot. Maybe that's what they're adding to the slate.
Yeah. Guys, if you're listening to this, please screen out your backfield from 5 deep striking Deathwing Knights.
That's not so easily done with a 3-inch deep
Exactly, yeah.
Invest in infiltrators. Maybe infiltrators are back with all of these 3-inch deep striking armies around.
Infiltrators were never gone.
They were gone because GSC ate a bullet and people didn't need them anymore. But they're definitely relevant again now.
The list that I've seen, people were running like a single brick of.
Yeah.
Just because they're a great backline holding unit. You can just put them there and jobs are good.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see for Dark Angels. It doesn't look inspiring at this moment in time. It's not one of those, oh my goodness, it's going to beat everything in the world kind of books. But both the detachments look flavourful, and this is, I guess, going to be the issue Marines have, which is when you're juggling...
Let me just stop you there.
...across multiple things.
Let me just stop you there. And this is, we've immediately revealed the problem with the Codex. You went, both of the detachments look flavourful. Tom, there's 3.
I know there's 3.
One's so fucking dull, you didn't even remember it.
Yeah, but there's new ones. We've had some version of Unforgiven already, haven't we?
Yeah.
And again, no Dark Angels player. Every Dark Angels player took one look at that and went, I'm going to play the generic ones. And as long as that's an option, it's going to be hard to juggle these different things.
Yeah, obviously John and I will be going through them in depth, and I haven't actually looked at them much yet because I've been looking at AdMech rules just non-stop. But he was more positive than some of the other Deathwing players we have because he's saying, sure, the things that were good before are no longer good.
Yeah.
Look at it as a new book. You know, there will be new things, like you say. Being able to deep strike something 3 inches away turn 1 is horrendous to deal with for some armies, especially when that thing's going to be some sort of Terminators.
Yeah,
it's pretty scary. Like, veterans get Deathwing keyword now. I want to see Azrael with some Stern Guard getting +1 to wound or something.
You can do that with Hellblasters as well, right?
Yeah.
And units of 10 Hellblasters getting +1 to wounds real.
Because the character that's joined to them gives them the Deathwing Q. Yeah, there we go. There's one that I hadn't immediately thought of.
There's some combinations, and I think probably part of the loss is just that actually Dark Angels had a reasonable bit of consistency between 9th and 10th in terms of there were a few of the staples were still very good. So they haven't had to sort of respec in the way that, some people got absolutely respec'd immediately by what was going on in 10th and had to completely adapt and change.
Poor Eldar.
Poor Eldar. Eldar had to bring a completely different set of things. Suddenly it was wraiths and D-cannons and all sorts of shit that was relevant. Yeah, it's tough. So I think that's part of it, and we will see as soon as you've got turn 1 deep striking and 3-inch deep striking in the mix. I don't think, as we've just seen with Hypercrit, I don't think you can rule out there not being something great in there.
And I think Deathwing character, like Inner Circle characters, can now join Terminators. I think John was saying.
Yeah,
great. That's fucking cool. That opens up so much.
Yeah, so there's some exciting stuff. Yeah, and it's going to be a case of digging and finding the combinations once we've got a book in hand. So, I mean, if you want that, then cracking the Codex. John, long-time Dark Angels player, and Ed, guy that has...
They are my favourite. Yeah. They're my favourite of all.
Are they actually? Oh, that's nice.
Back in day, I had 4th edition Dark Angels Codex. Not the thick one, the thin one that was a supplement.
I have a very specific memory of a White Dwarf, and it was, remember then they'd do the battle reports, which was like 4 armies fighting over something in the middle.
Oh yeah.
And one of the armies was Dark Angels, and I remember thinking they looked very cool. And it was like black and yellow Tyranids was one of the other ones, and it was a great battle report. I do remember thinking they looked quite cool with the robes and stuff on.
They have the best aesthetic. And if you
I just have contempt for them now because I've played against them so often in our team that I just, over time, you get jaded. But I think now I have to forgive them because Deathwing have died a death for now.
Yeah,
Deathwing are dead. Longwing Deathwing.
Yeah.
Transhuman, 2-up armor with armor of
Oh,
contempt, 4-up invuln, 5-up feel enough playing with the apothecary. I can't remember, and then it would just bring the guy back.
Yeah, I was playing Tower that time. That was great fun.
Yeah, they were rough. They were rough. So we'll see. I'm excited to see what people do with new Dark Angels. Okay, next up we have I Fought the Law. I'm going to tell you a little story about a unit.
Can I just say, Tom,
Oh, yeah.
For the first time in our channel history, we've just hit 40 live viewers.
Oh, thank you, everybody. It's lovely to have you
Really
all
cool.
here.
We've
Welcome.
hovered around the 38, 39. It's the first time we've ever hit 40 today.
40k, 40
Hello,
viewers.
40
That's what we want.
people.
Hello, everybody. I am going to read you an excerpt of lore about monoliths now in celebration of the LVO win.
Don't scare him off.
Oh, we're on 25.
Is more emblematic of Necron implacability than the monolith. Like all Necron constructs, it is composed of living metal, complex semi-sentient alloy that ripples and flows and adapts its structure. It has targeting matrices, motive units, power conduits. It's capable of instantaneous self-repair, which makes it one of the hardiest vehicles in the Necron army, an incredibly daunting prospect. So it's an incredibly dense armoured thing with very dangerous shooting. But its formidable armour comes at the cost of speed. Due to a monolith's ponderous bulk, it cannot move at speed, unlike other Necron skimmer vehicles and more mobile units. So if someone finds a way to pick that thing up and drop it down somewhere else, they'll be very, very pleased with themselves, you would imagine. It can muster enough firepower to be considered a small army in its own right, and it can also teleport other sort of friendly units into battle through the Eternity Gate as well. A truly terrifying prospect. Nothing in here about it phase teleporting in the middle of a battle. I did look through.
We've genuinely dropped to 35 viewers.
Oh no, I've killed it off with the monolith chat. I'm so sorry, everybody, but that's where we're at.
That was Eldar players all just like signing
Yeah,
out.
then I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Oh man,
I did wonder why you were doing that. Why you were reading like a bit of text from a codex. I was like, sound. I've got eyes. I can read myself. And then you got to it's incredibly slow. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a little joke there. Just
okay.
A little joke on the ponderousness of it.
Now I get it.
Yeah,
now it's funny.
Too much of a slow burn, though, I think. Anyway, yeah, Scriver says Dawn of War flashbacks. I don't know if anyone played Dawn of War with the one with the Necrons where that came out. I think it used to teleport in, right, the monolith? So it would you would be able to drop it in somewhere. So I think that's a bit of what Hypercrypt is on about. You know, you get a big green glow and suddenly, boom, there's a monolith there. So I think that's the main thing there. Sharini says monoliths do generally attack from the skies, which is probably where the deep strike comes from. Yeah, but do they attack from the skies, land, go back up in the sky, then land again as many times as they want? That's the question. We'll see.
Do you reckon they'll FAQ that?
Nah, I like it. I think
I don't think it's an issue, but I'm just saying.
It's fun. I think it's fun, and then I hope there's a guard detachment where you can put parachutes on a Baneblade, and it can just
well, then pick them up again.
I just want to say, anyone who thinks it's a genuine issue, have a mate who's got a monolith. Find one in a shop somewhere. Take a tape measure. Tell me what the fucking dimensions of that unit are, and if you think it's an issue that you're unable to screen out, you know, like realistically a 14, 16-inch circle or something daft, then get back to me.
I actually looked at this. It's like the size of a small dinner plate. It's massive.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's so good. I love it. I'd quite like to play against it. I'm curious how Votan get on with the monolith. It feels like a good thing for them to have about.
Well, in the semis or quarters, he played into the quarters. He played into the Inari build, and he kind of sent it over to a corner and was like, "I'll be fine." And it's so often the case. Just a few Eldar shots later, and this thing was nearly dead. Then the Beast Pack charged in and Dev wounded it, and it was dead. And Laura was like, "Oh shit, that's a problem." And that was the end game he drew.
I think 5 Fire Dragons and Fagan would just kill it, right?
Yeah. So
if they go out of Falcon, I think they just kill it. Stone dead. 22
wounds, I think 22. I think it's because it's toughness 13. That's obviously like the thing.
Yeah, that's the big deal.
And it's got 2-up save, and you can give it a 4-up. So in cover, a 2-up save is also really good. But yeah, 22 wounds. It just takes 3 or 4 big guns just to get through, and suddenly you're sweating about your monolith.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the general power of these sort of 3-inch deep striking detachments is that you can't just screen acres of space with like a low knot. Suddenly that's not good enough. Stuff's going to drop in and punk low knots, which I think is actually quite healthy because there's a few armies really abusing that. But the thing that's really annoying, and once you play Hypercrit a few times, as with other things like GSC, is that you end up standing in stupid places to stop things from happening. It's the same with Inceptors. You stand in stupid places. You don't want Inceptors just landing on a point and just taking it for free with like rapid ingress or something. Or dropping in and stealing your points, but then that puts you in more trouble because you get shot by other stuff because you can't just hide behind walls because there's a risk something's just going to drop down and steal your points. So it's a real puzzle of positioning. Okay, so I think we can move towards listener questions now. Now we've got a bunch in the Discord, but seeing as there's so many of you in tonight, I strongly encourage you chuck question in, chuck one in the chat right now. If you want to, you can super chat. Yep, super chat, very much an option. But we welcome any and all questions and would attempt to field them as well.
44 folk, in fact.
44 folk. Wow. They waited for the Monolith story to be over and then
they joined.
He's reading lore. No one cares. So yeah, we welcome any and all chats. Do get your questions flowing, and we'll start digging through the Discord now as well. So
we're not even at an hour yet, so we need like an hour of questions for us to.
We can really indulge today. This has been a snappy show. But I promised a snappy show. I said that's what we'd do, and that is what we have delivered. So
Chris is doing a fantastic job, by the way, at hiding the army that he's.
I know.
He's in front of the camera.
Yes, the army, woo!
Yeah, we know it comes on sprues. We know that much. Oh, I'm going to field the Sindri question that's just come in first. So Sindri says, "Who's jumping on all Kroot first?" So I was winding Jack Chapman up like months ago about the Tau book, and one of the things I said was it's going to be all Kroot. All you're getting is Kroot. There's going to be a Kroot detachment. Kroot are going to be the best thing in the book, and then they have legitimately just dropped all Kroot with a Kroot.
And I don't think you believed it when you said it.
And I did. I was saying it to antagonize him. Yeah. It was fully to take the piss.
Yeah.
But I'm really here for it. How do you guys feel about it? What do we think of all Kroot? No?
Did you know that they worship Gork and Mork? That's so cool.
Do they?
Yeah, they worship Gork and Mork.
That's ridiculous.
Is that correct?
That is correct, man.
Is that something that was written 20 years ago and has since been removed from all traces of lore?
I don't know. I heard it off someone else. I googled it and it came up saying, "Yeah, they."
Can you provide me a sourced, peer-reviewed journal on this,
if
please?
If you could fact check us, Kroot worshipping Gork and Mork, we'd appreciate it. That'd be very useful. But I mean, I think it's really cool. I think one of the things we always talk about with Tau is they don't have this push or combat or some way to get involved and get in the game outside of shooting.
Yeah, but when I say that, I want my melee fucking crisis back.
I know what you want. But Kroot instead. I just think it's great.
Nah.
Yeah, the models look sick as well, eh?
I love Kroot. And you know why I love Kroot? Because they're cheap pieces of shit that'll just do things. Kroot Hounds, exactly 24 points for 4 models back in 9th edition. Fantastic. I don't want to take an entire army of that rubbish. I want models that'll do things and then some cheap scoring stuff. And the cheaper, the better. But, yeah, you're telling me I have to take a whole army of this shit now?
I'm very curious. I'm curious. I want it to land as the single best way to play Tau. I think that would be an amazing time. I just think the sheer drama, if that's what it is.
It would upset all of the Tau.
It would upset everybody.
I don't even play Tau anymore, but I'm upset.
Yeah, you'd be a Kroot player.
I wouldn't be a Tau player. I would not be a Kroot player.
Oh, I'd love it.
Come back this time in 3 months when Ed has a Kroot army.
Existence UK says, kind of hoping the Krootox rampages are like Bulgrins. Yeah, something like that would be nice. I think just stodgy
D3 mortals on the charge,
not too expensive pushing it goes a long way for them. Really does. As would any little janky sort of scoring pieces that doesn't involve losing valuable Tau units. So, yeah, we'll see. But the models certainly look great. I think it's a really cool box. So, next up for questions, we have... How would you beat the Necrons list that won the LVO?
Screen out the back.
I'd shoot it with +1 to hit and wound. I think with army wide +1 to hit and wound, and see if that did it.
Does he have the ability to get through like durable stuff? Like he's got a lot of immortals with no AP, really. So does he get through?
He's got some Gorse immortals actually.
But does that make a big
It
difference?
doesn't. Your point still stands. He does lack the heavy firepower.
What did he have in terms of Catan? Did he have Catan?
The Void Dragon and the Nightbringer.
Yeah, I feel like Votan probably don't hate that.
Yeah.
If you can drop the Monolith. Which, last time I tried to kill a Monolith, I killed it so quickly that I lost all my Berserks for no reason because they were just out and it was already dead. It was like, oh no.
That's our problems right there. Yeah. But you know what his run was? I can't bother to.
No, I don't.
But I know obviously he beat Eldar, or drew with Eldar, beat Eldar. In the semis, he just played his ultimate dream matchup, which was Unending Swarm, and just stood there and just hosed it down. I'm not sure what.
Who asked the question? Was it one of our UK viewers, or was it someone
It
from
was
the States?
Hannibal, who we actually met at Nottingham. So thanks for saying hey, Hannibal.
Yeah, thanks, Hannibal.
I'd probably just play on UKTC and be like, "Where you going, boyo?"
Yeah.
I've brought models that can screen, and you struggle to walk.
Yeah, he doesn't have a huge amount of killing power. I think it's a nice list. You have to remember he's a very good player.
Absolutely.
That's obviously gone a really long way for them.
So the 6++ answer to this would be practice into it and learn how it works. Learn what you.
Fuck off. That's a proper answer.
That's a real
answer. Here for.
And yeah, I think that.
My answer would be bring 3 monoliths.
That was the anti-monolith.
Tesseract vaults.
Yes.
No, I don't. I mean good models. Get out of here.
I literally no idea what they do anymore.
They're vaguely interesting.
Could they teleport 3 inches away?
Yeah, but they're an even bigger model.
Oh man.
Well, I guess you measure to the base, so I guess it's the same. I think.
Yeah, I've got my new. That's what we'll take for teams, Tom. 3 Tesseract vaults.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
If it's old slate, no, I can't fuck up another event. I think.
Yeah, I'm going double Wraith Knight.
Let's just we've got to take it seriously.
I mean, last hurrah for Dark Angels. Lee.
Yeah, so we're just letting Paul out in the garden with his Destiny Knights to advance.
I'd feel bad if we let down Lee because he's just always so good and so focused. Like we've got to bring our A game because he's so good.
We do. We have to.
And then we're just here, fucking sat in the sandpit, going, I don't know. I like castles, me.
Our next question. Sai says, if you were given the opportunity as part of the next data slate, or even this one, to make one change to the existing GT primary missions, excluding the extra mission rules or secondaries, what would it be?
God, that was a lot of words.
Get rid of deploy servo skulls.
If you can make one change to the primary missions in the GT,
the primary missions. Oh God. Make them interesting. Like make the actual primary scoring less dog shit. Because right now it's just be on your own objective and one other objective, and that's probably fine. And that's so dull. Make it so you have to scrap over at least 2 of the middle objectives. Like that's what I want to see.
Oh, that's a great shout. I think that's
what a guy with 18 wraiths would say.
Every one of my armies wants to scrap over all of the midboard objectives. That is my jam.
Yeah. I feel like there's maybe one too many. Like just hold 1, hold 2, 1 in there, isn't there? Probably.
I agree.
Probably just a little bit. Also, just put Data Scry salvage back in. I loved that shit. That was a great time. I really missed that mission. It was so stupid. Very, very.
Bring back Stranglehold.
Oh, Stranglehold. Yeah.
My favourite time in 40k was when I could play Stranglehold and To the Last. And I just didn't lose, because I was playing To the Last on units of the Carnifexes that would drop when they came down. So if you killed 2 of the 3 Carnifexes in the To the Last squad, I just hide the last one. But it's fine because I was getting, max points on Stranglehold. I got near max points on To the Last. It was delightful.
Ridiculous. Oh man, our next question comes from Entropic Tyranny. It's my favourite name in this chat, Entropic Tyranny, so thanks for piping up. And he is asking the Bug Watcher specifically a question. And he is saying, what is the most competitive Tyrannid detachment right now? Davey.
Well, I mean, if you look at LVO, right, Unending Swarm is pretty strong, right? Because it just does a lot of things that... It does so Tyrannid's biggest strength is scoring secondaries. Its possible biggest weakness is scoring primary and keeping primary for 5 long turns. That's what Tyranids want to do. They're not going to table their opponent. They need to play 5 turns and score in every single turn to win the game. So you've got to make the game slower. You've got to like use assets wisely, and you've got to score that primary all throughout the game. And Unending Swarm gives you the most shit to do that with. So my honest opinion is that at the moment. That said, Invasion Fleet does very well. I think there's a really cool like Synaptic Nexus build that does very well into teams events, like so against Eldari, for example. And then the other two are trash.
I think Vanguard has play as well. I think
Vanguard.
Greg Chamberlain had a good run on Vanguard.
Yeah, I did have a good run on Vanguard. It's pretty fun until you play Purge of the Four. Or taken hold, and that's why if you watch my recent video on Unending Swarm, you'll see that actually the scores that I'm getting on Purge the Four and Taken Hold is so much better than I was getting on Vanguard with Vanguard Onslaught. So yeah, I would say Unending Swarm is really
highest
strong.
Win rate, doesn't it? I think Endless Swarm has the best win rate of the sub detachments at the moment.
I think so. I think it does, but only with like 3 weeks worth of data, so it's super small.
I think
you go right back a couple of weeks. It's actually, I think, Invasion. No, it might be Vanguard Onslaught that has the highest win rate, but it only has a few players.
So NIDs, I think, are one of the armies that vary the most depending on what mission pack and terrain layout you're playing. In a way that the more durable stuff, like if you're playing Marines, you can probably kind of just do the same shit everywhere. And you're like, oh, I've got somewhere to trade from. But I feel like, especially the LVO run we saw from Unending Swarm, because it was so open, because it's player placed, you've kind of got to bring all the bodies to be able to hang at all. There's less room for those cute, tricksy lists, unless you're playing Necrons, and then you're playing cute, tricksy lists with really tanky models. So,
yeah, that's the thing, right? That there's always someone who's going to absolutely bop you in the face, whereas Unending Swarm brings a problem that not everyone can answer. So,
and it's a meta read as well, right? Everyone's gearing up to kill the Catan and the Wraiths and everything else that's good, and you go, wow, I'm just going to bring a load of T3 T-shirt save bodies. What are you going to do about that? Kill him? Yeah. Oh, I brought him back.
And then you're going to get charged by World Eaters and Space Wolves, and that was my biggest issue. So big learning experience.
I think to me speaks of the position that NIDS are currently at, and we'll see if the data state changes it. But the truth with the NIDS book is that it's landed well balanced internally, good mix of things, but not strong. And so that means that whatever angle you take with NIDS, you're teching for some things, and you won't be able to cover everything. It's just not a book that has that kind of can answer any type of build thing within it right now. Whether that changes, we'll see. But I think it's an amazing asset in teams because you can tailor it for particular things, and it will work that way in singles. But there's always going to be something out there that's got its number, because that's how a book that's actually in a properly balanced spot should generally be and feel. Special Meats in the chat says it's probably still Invasion Fleet and Tropic, and I agree. Invasion Fleet is probably the most all-rounder in terms of the flexibility into different things, the ability to adapt for different things. But as you say, Davey, the raw sort of stat power of Unending Swarm is also pretty good. I like the idea of Entropic Tyranny and Special Meats hanging out. They have such different names. Two words tacked together, but completely different imagery conjured up there. Entropic Tyranny, Special Meats. I like it. You two should definitely.
Love it. That sounds like a show.
Yeah. Our next question, and do keep them coming in chat if you'd like other questions answered. Our next question is from SD, and it says, other miniatures games often give out promos for participation in events, thinking Star Wars Armada, X-Wing miniatures, with their alternate art, ship cards, acrylic accessory, etc. What sort of participation prize would you like to see given out at 40k tournaments in 2024? Participation prizes.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you cast your minds back to when me and Aaron went to Barcelona, we got so much free stuff just for buying a ticket.
Yeah.
So much stuff. And that was pretty cool. It was really, really cool. I think in the UK it would be awesome to get something, even if it's, I don't know, it's something that has like Nottingham GT on it, 2024 or 2020. Yeah, 2024.
Yeah, like Stash, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Collectible cards.
Collectible cards. Chris makes us cards. Whenever we do a teams event,
we need to do that.
Chris makes us lovely little cards for the factions we took. So actually, Chris makes sure we get our goodies to take home. I agree. I think a little bit of Stash would be quite nice, right?
I think if I do like the idea of like the old games days, right, where you would go to games days and you'd get the Orc War Boss who's standing on the ammo dump, That's sick, man. Like those. I look back at my teenage years playing 40k, and they were the models that stood out to me. I still remember them more than any other model because it was like that was the limited edition.
Games Day 2009, baby.
Oh, look at
Chaos
that
Warrior
guy.
Lord.
Oh, I remember that model. That was
I
awesome.
got 2 of them.
Yeah,
exactly
sick.
right. I'd love that to happen still. Like if they did a model for the LGT, for example, or LVO, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think hopefully as events continue to grow, it's all the pomp and circumstance around the event is really nice. It's good to have that and have people coming away feeling like they've been to something special. I always think good events thrive on that. For example, John Scrivens' Warzone Faustus events, where you always get something cool. You get some cool dice. You go get a few things to take home, and I think it's very nice. So, little plug for John, wherever he is, presumably editing content for us somewhere in a room as we speak. Sean Cape will ask, do you think the winner abused the fact that in the US their meta is very considered and measured, as in wasn't going to expect it? I see, expect the all-in is what he's saying. So US players standing off each other, not necessarily going to expect the massive, aggressive play. I mean, there is
some
some
Americans are more aggressive.
Not in 40k.
No, in 40. Well, Art of War aren't. Art of War are very like hidey.
Yeah, but in general, I've heard that UK players are quite defensive compared to Americans who just.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You play here, mate. How often have you been near tabled on turn 2?
Never.
Really? I'm obviously very healthy. That's obviously a skill issue. Yeah.
I mean, there is a kind of beautiful symmetry to the play for those that missed it, right? The teleporting an obnoxious, large, powerful unit in behind the enemy is something else I love to do. So, and the fact that they had it done to them is an all-round good time. And the fact that the opponent then bounced off it and lost immediately is also a good time, because that happens to a lot of people that try and kill the Incarn as well. So I think, there was something about it. We celebrate, Eldar lost, new army wins. It's like, it's doing the same shit though, isn't it? It's the same basic principle. Here comes something horrible, and let's capitalise on the advantage. Sean says that's because Chris does the tabling.
Well, occasionally. But I also, more importantly, say we're now up to 50 live viewers.
50, that's way too many.
50,
Take it easy, guys. Chill out. 50, surely too many. We're just going to keep being entertaining and keep.
Can you pull up a list of the names of the viewers, and I'll pick 10 to leave.
Mr. Fellblade's in, says, evening, folks. Lovely to have you here, Mr. Fellblade. You are welcome.
Because you've commented, you're off the list. You don't have to leave.
I have a question. How badly did the Dark Angels rules writer get bodied before he wrote the codex?
Probably got touched by Paul.
Could have been.
I'm still not on the sky is falling train. But
no, I'm not either. I'm not either, because I think they got some incredible tools. If they still had the stats on Deathly Knights that they have now and the tools they just got, everyone would be going insane. It would be very scary. So you can't have all those things at once, or that'd be a bit much. So it's reassuring that it looks half thought out in terms of balance.
It's a bit of a Custodes player problem, and I'm not saying that Dark Angels are like Custodes players.
They are. Though.
No, that would be harsh.
You know that they are, because they both had the same plan, which is run to the middle and then be good at Warhammer by rolling fours and win the game.
I don't typically hear Dark Angel play a whinging, so you know.
Oh no! Sorry, I mean in terms of the overall style of the death.
Yeah, no.
Here it is.
But I think it's a very similar problem in that they're going to have to play a very different style to what they were doing, which was play the non-Dark Angels detachments with the good Dark Angels units. Now it might be play the non-Dark Angels units like Sternguard or Hellblasters in the Dark Angels detachments. I don't know if that's how it's going to go, but I'm very interested to see if it is, and I think that takes a lot of time to wrap your head around.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I think there will be adaptations. So Deathly Knights is still incredibly durable. Probably a bit overpriced, but very durable. Are we seeing the Sindri comment?
No, Super Strudel, most aware Custodes player. Good on you. Good on you.
Super Strudel says, as a Custodes player, I'm offended, but also it's the best description of me. There's
no
shame in that whatsoever.
Did you go onto Reddit to bitch and moan? Because if not, you're fine by me.
Yeah. It's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I played against Custodes, played against Lee Jones's Custodes a little while ago, and they do need some more stuff. They need some buffs. They definitely do. So even though they're not my favourite army in the world, I do hope that they get some cool stuff. Sindri has a little joke here as well. I'm confused about people being sad about the DA leaks. I thought we wanted CSM to get nerfed.
I think there's a good one above that as well with Dark Angel, because Endlessly in the Sky is fallen.
Yeah.
With Dark Angels, everything is fallen. Very good.
I got time for that. Very good.
We've got UK #1 player Jack Ty has dropped in a question a while ago. I'll pop it up here.
Oh yeah.
What suitably silly list should I take to Saffron Slam next month? So far, providing I can find it to borrow, it's taking 2,000 points consisting only of Leviathan box contents.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
interesting.
Why don't you take the T-Suns list Tom went 2 or 3 with?
Yes.
Just win the event.
Jack's won a Saffron Slam before, hasn't he?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Jack, did you get one of those massive trophies that we all got for winning teams? Because I asked Lewis, I said, next event I come to, can I run that as an actual model? And he said, abso-fucking-lutely. So if you've got a trophy that you've won from Saffron Slam, put it on a base, whatever model it is, play it as that model. Mine was the Swarm Lord, so it's actually sized roughly correctly. You might have some difficulties if it's like a normal Space Marine. Fuck it, it's Calgar now. Or not Calgar, Gulliman. But that's the answer. Take whatever trophy you've got from Saffron Slam, whack it on a base, and build an army around that.
If you want us to put up a community vote as to what you take, Jack, just shoot us some options and we'll put it on our community.
Yeah.
They are very good at finding the thing that's going to make your life really difficult. They've got a real knack for it.
Drakari, Jack. Take Drakari.
Don't take Drakari, because I want to take Drakari. Well, they're mine.
They might have been buffed by then. So.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, it's no longer a meme-answer.
Jack says he's got a big CSM Terminator. Yeah, just run that as Abaddon, I guess.
Yeah, there we go.
So, going back to the Discord for some questions for a moment, we have Ultimate Funk, who says, I find when designing lists that it's usually easy enough to pick like the first 1,800 points. Do you have any tips for picking that last 150, 200, and best tips for iterating with that, particularly when practice time is limited?
My strategy is spend most of your waking hours thinking about the list and just sort of lie in bed and change it endlessly and then play some games with it. And then change it endlessly, and then play some more games with it. But if you can put a solid 60 hours of mulling into a list, you'll probably be happy with it by the time you take it to an event. No biggie.
It's sort of you can't win with it. You're never going to have the perfect list, right? So I think it's just quite nice changing that up regularly and trying different things. I can't really run the same list twice. I get incredibly bored incredibly quickly.
So, but obviously, the proper advice is that you would play a few games with a list, and then you would change a small element or consistent element of that and plug it in. So maybe you've got your 1,700 points, and you put a couple of tanks in. You play 2 or 3 games with those tanks, and then actually, does that help it? Or it's the fact that you get to your 1,800 points, and you say, I know I'm good into XYZ matchup.
Exactly that.
But this is my weak matchup. What can I put into my list to help me? So I don't know if you've got a weakness to World Eaters, can you add some infiltrators into or scouts into your list? To help block that out. It's just that's the sort of thing.
Other things I would recommend doing is deploying your army and seeing if you can even if you do it on TTS or even I've been known to do it on PowerPoint. And just I know, Ed, I know. I use the UKTC maps on PowerPoint and then basically estimate how big every unit is.
Oh my word!
Yeah, you had me up until you said.
I love a PowerPoint. Have you seen any of the videos I do?
That is true. I do know you love PowerPoint.
It's a bit ridiculous. I love Excel and I love a PowerPoint. But if you do that, and you can also find out do you need things to screen out space? I.e. a monolith. But also you can, you have an idea of where you want to move things, and then you'll see gaps in your plan. Is it speed? And a lot of the time, to be honest, whenever people are building lists, they build 180 points or 1,800 points of the absolute unit, big, strong battering units, and then go, oh, actually, I do need to score points. You do tend to find a lot of people will do that. So generally, the answer is fast-moving infantry. Or fast-moving bikey kind of things.
Just to quickly expand on that, I think you're almost right in saying that they put 1,800 points of battering, but it's 1,800 points of whatever you're biased towards. So if Chris was to write a list from scratch, it would probably be 1,800 points of small scorer units that would be playing around the edges, and then maybe he would have to force himself to put something a bit bigger in.
No, Chris would be 1,800 points of what everyone else is playing, right?
Oh, yeah, but that's the 200 is. He always expresses himself in that last 200. You know, he does, to his credit.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, like, I felt that here.
That was brutal.
It was, yeah. I mean,
It's only painful because it's true, right?
Davey's got a history of, dropping some harsh lines. He never liked me the first time we met.
Yeah, that's
Right,
going to be
Chris
tricky.
versus Unending Swarm for the next bat rep, boys. Make it happen. Chris will show you.
Chris?
If there are any weird characters, get them in. 200 points of weird characters is a surefire way of losing slightly more games than you're used to losing. I recommend it.
Nice.
We've got a few more questions in the chat. Sindri asked, with the rise of Necrons and potentially Unending Swarm, do you think Deathwatch might see an increase in play? Are they just too specialised or underpowered in the current meta? Ed, what do we think?
That's spicy, and I am right now pulling them up on Warhampedia.
Whenever you ran them, they were real good at killing aliens.
Oh, yeah.
But they've changed a lot, haven't they? Is the frag cannon anti-infantry?
The frag cannons are no longer anywhere near as good as it used to be. I can't remember the change for it, but something about it makes me sad now.
Some of the synergies with the strats and the internal workings of it got really badly nerfed, didn't they?
There was something, yeah. I think it was the strats. So maybe you look at them outside of the Deathwatch detachment. Data sheet buffs. I don't think they have any. I think all of their buffs against Xenos really come in from the detachment. I don't think they come in from the data sheet. So I'd have to get back on that one, but I'm interested to see, because you can get each turn you pick one of the mission tactics once per battle. You can just put straight precision on your crit hits. That's not bad if we're playing against Necrons.
Their jump up, jump downy as well. That's one we should test. That's one we should definitely test, because they are surely. I feel like they'll probably get a buff because they've dropped off entirely, haven't they? Deathwatch.
It
they don't really
depends what units they can get, because they've always had reduced. If they can get stuff like aggressors, then if they can just take the good units, then I don't see why they wouldn't necessarily be. That's a great fucking question. Who said that? Who said that in chat?
Sindri. One of two
Good
Sindris.
Question, Sindri. Other Sindri, step up your game, because you've got something to live up to. That's oh god.
Gitly Gaming asked, "What if my greatest weakness is my knees?" But I'm not sure what that was in reference to. I think I missed the moment in which that came. As someone who's one of my greatest weaknesses is my knees, and it's just tough. Wear a brace would be my advice.
He had some bangers this episode that have gone unnoticed.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
I've not seen Gitly in here before, but Gitly's come in all guns blazing, and I respect it.
100%.
Mr. Fellblade asked, Tom, how low would the GSC Magus have to be pointed if you to take one in an army? Pretty low. So it's a Psyker. It has no psychic range weapon. It has the ability to give a unit a 5-up feel no pain against psychic attacks specifically when the icon ward gives a 5-up feel no pain, full stop. So a bit of an issue there already. And then it's got a minor buff to make something -1 to hit if you're within 12 of it. And there's just not much that will not still kill a GSC unit anyway, even if you do debuff it. So it just doesn't have much of a place. I used to love the Magus. I ran it all the time with the old... there was one of the little custom buffs you could juice up the Psychers. I used to love that shit. But sadly, the Magus doesn't really have a place or a role right now. I think the Icon Ward's just better. Just take the Icon Ward. 5-up Feel No Pain is very nice if you are taking that. Okay, so we have... Harley says, what changes to Eldar do you think are needed? Oh, Harley, it's not about what's needed. It's about what's right. And what's right is putting them out of action for 6 months. Because then I'll play them again and that'll be fun. Nah, I think it's Night Spinner, isn't it, really? Mainly. Night Spinner's the main offender.
I don't attack Wayleaper.
I don't mind that so much.
Yeah.
There's loads of armies that have that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's coming back to life on a 2-up with a melter gun. They can fight in front of your face and just drop a 6 and kill whatever it shoots at.
Yeah, but he's very expensive now for 4
kill it
wounds.
twice.
How many points
Easy.
is it?
Like 115. 115? That is a lot. And is that with the buff on him as well?
No, if you get in Phoenix Gem, it's 140, I think.
That's not cheap.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
I think he's okay.
Shut the fuck up, Davey.
Yeah, all right,
So-
sorry.
Also, as we've seen, he can't keep a monolith out of his own garden,
I'm
so
I'm
he does have to
back.
be careful.
I'm back on the Death Watch. 'Cause it
Oh,
was
here
such
we
a good
go.
question.
Okay.
So, big shout out to John, who's been messaging me. Tome of Ectoclades, 40 points. Put it on a Watchmaster or Captain. Once per battle, after you select a Know the Moment's target, you select a second enemy unit, and each time your models from your army make an attack that targets either of those enemy units, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll.
Oh my god!
Once per game, you get Old Oath on 2 units. Now, if there's not anything to put there, like
that's going to absolutely do Necrons, is it not? If you can get close enough.
I think there's something there. I think there's definitely something there. And
Ed, don't you have some Death Watch?
I have a lot of veteran bodies.
Well, you've
Like
got a
a 3D
week
printer that
till
goes-
ITT.
We should test Death Watch at the team spring.
Oh god!
There's no way this would backfire.
If I had 3 weeks, I could do that. But
Yeah.
Good on Sindri.
my
Should've
print is
done
going
earlier.
now,
Genuinely
printing
a
some
good
square
call,
bases.
though. If they get anything resembling buffs in Slate, they Necrons are one of the things they're meant to be good at dealing with, so that's interesting. That's very interesting.
God. I'm just looking at the fucking which
Genuine
marine units I want to
innovation
reroll
from the
wounds.
chat. What a chat we have.
Yeah,
Cooking
great,
up
innit?
solutions to the problem.
I'm seeing Inceptors and Hellblasters, not Inceptors. What's the tank called? The floaty tank.
Oh no,
Impulsors.
the Corpus Black Star. Oh no, the
fuck
okay.
that. The Impulsors with Hellblasters. That's like where my brain immediately goes when I'm like, I can reroll wounds again.
There's a lot of shots.
And my ability to get sustained hits doesn't, comes from my mission tactic. It doesn't come from like a data sheet rule, so my boats will be able to sustain hits as well.
Scary.
Yeah, this is fucking.
That's one for the lab, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not going to get any sleep tonight.
I was literally about to say, well, Ed's not going to sleep now.
I love that shit though. It's an exciting time when there's things to be solved.
Yeah.
Gitly Gaming also says his jokes or her jokes often go under the radar.
Very nice.
Just keeping them rolling.
They have been on form tonight.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. We have now run out of questions, everybody. So it's your last chance to get a couple in. We're approaching the 1.5 hour mark, so this feels like an appropriate time to wind down. But because there's so many of you and it's been so fun, if you do have any final questions, we will field them now. What are you going to paint your monolith like, Chris?
Same as the rest of my army.
What colour will the big crystal be?
Blue. So my Necron army is kind of like this antiqued gold effect, which is I found it ages and ages ago. Before I even collected Necrons, I saw this really nice looking Necron army on Facebook and was like, oh, I'll just
Do that.
grab that just in case I ever collect Necrons. Like 1 year later, I guess I'll use this. So yeah, it's like Warlock bronze, and then you just dry brush on like Balthazar gold, Retributor gold, bit of silver, wash it, Agrax, so it just creates this really nice effect. So it's that, and then blue, blue glow is
Lovely.
basically the army colours with a red basing.
That needs to get in a bat rep. Needs to happen.
Well, if we don't take World Eaters, I'll be painting a test model for my secret Old World army. And then I'll be also painting the Monolith is next on the block.
Super
As
cool.
soon as that's done, we'll get a bite-sized bat rep out.
Yeah, that's true. I reckon we should get some votes up for what we run in some of those. I think that'd be good. Jack says, how many acolytes should I run in my new GSC army? 30 most, unless the Goliath truck becomes cheaper. Then maybe more. They are very good. But 30 is about right. That's about the most that you can really expect to utilise. Shirini asks, is there a faction that you'd refuse to play no matter how much you were paid to do it? Go. Davey, what would you never play? Name an army you'd never play. Tau. Okay. Ed, army you'd never play.
Struggling with this. Maybe Drakari. Yeah, maybe Drakari. I just don't. It doesn't click for me.
Couldn't do that to Rob.
No.
Chris, army you'd never play.
Space Marines?
Because you have played them once.
Well, yeah.
We filmed a narrative report.
Having
it was experienced
them, I just had zero, and then having a big army of them and just never playing it. I have no interest in playing them.
So, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I really struggled to get excited for Space Marines as well. Although Blood Angels I did really enjoy. Custodes for me. There's enough Custodes players out there, and it's just not my vibe.
You don't have a Reddit account either, Tom, right?
You guys have really come in with the questions, by the way. So well done. I'm very impressed. Absolute flood of questions here.
So what's going to bed? I don't think so.
No chance. Entrophic Tyranny says, do you expect Dark Angels to become a top faction with the new Codex?
No.
It doesn't look like it. But, and I was saying this the other day, it's Dark Angels. Every time Dark Angels comes out, horrific skew in a Ravenwing variety and a Deathwing variety is attempted and is out there for a while. And so until that is not out there and being done, I will not believe it.
I think there'll be a shooting list around the Deathwing detachment. That has my interest.
Mark Kirkham says, I miss all the 8-bound. What happened to them? They're all in the Rhinos, mate. That's what they are. Just hiding away in the Rhinos.
They're not allowed in Rhinos, Tom. It's Exalted 8-bound that are in the Rhinos.
Is it only Exalted that can go in Rhinos?
Yeah, because you can't have 8-bound keywords in. But Exalted 8-bound have the Exalted 8-bound
Absolute
keywords.
scenes, isn't it? Absolute scenes. And then Existence UK says, characters giving out Deathwing keyword to get FAQ'd like Cryptex / Immortals. Who knows? Who knows? I guess we'll see how abusive it is and whether it's causing all sorts of problems. Sindri also says, have you looked at the Beacon Angelus relic for the Deathwatch? Ed, get it up. What does the Beacon Angelus do?
From memory, because it's always about repositioning, I think it's quite expensive, 30 or 40 points, and it gives you rapid ingress for free, and your squad has deep strike when they didn't before.
Yeah, that's fun. Basically, there might be some fun stuff in there, maybe.
Yeah.
It's worth looking at. I think at the time that Vanguard came out, a lot of Deathwatch stuff synergizes well with Vanguard, so there's no reason you can't lift some of the things people have been doing very commonly in Vanguard and make it work in Deathwatch with the tools that are in there. It's just whether some of their specific units have enough oomph to get it done. But certainly, when something like Necrons is doing well, they make sense. They make a lot of sense. Everyone's listing the armies they don't want to play, which I totally get.
Lee says that my answer is Death Guard, which is just factually wrong. The reason I'm so annoyed at the whole Death Guard thing, I quite like them thematically. They're an army that play into the way that I like to play, and I liked them in 8th and 9th edition. I wrote loads of lists around the stupid detachment where it was all like vehicles, and you could just
with
do some bullshit.
The furnace with the Invan and all that crap.
With Epidemis, where you were running demon engines, and you'd get buffs because your demon engines would kill things in rules that were clearly not meant to be put together, which meant that they worked quite well together. And I toyed with putting that list on the table quite a few times. I like Death Guard. I just don't like. They're not tanky now. They're not what they should be.
That's fair. That's fair. I'll be interested to see where they go in the book. I don't hate the direction they're going in with some of the AOS books for Nurgle do this, where it's sort of chippy, debuffy, grind you down over time, mortal wounds, spilly, and it does feel like they're getting there with Death Guard giving them that, but it's just not a style that works particularly in UK meta, where
just
sure,
in
that's
40K.
cute, I'm just going to shoot you to death.
Yeah. Have you considered everything in the open dying? Yeah, neat sound.
I haven't sold my Death Guard though, so when that book comes, I will genuinely have a go on it. But it's not on the list for right now. Scrivo asks, what Xenos auxiliary would you like to see added to Tau?
Oh, not more fucking Xenos auxiliaries.
Yeah, one more.
No.
They've got the little wingy ones, and they've got crew. You need a third.
Why? Why do you need a third? What niche do you need?
To keep the other two company, I think.
Oh, friends!
Wasps.
Yeah.
Xenos friends!
Wasps.
They have wasps.
Spiders.
They're the winged ones.
Vespids are wasps in a way. Big Vespid that is a wasp.
Well, okay, now, if we're talking,
like
monsters,
huge bug.
Now you have my attention.
With like a little Tau vest on and a massive stinger.
If I can run a brick of crisis suits and Tyrannid monsters, now we're talking.
So it will plug into the crisis suit unit. So you've got 6 crisis, but you also have this massive ablative wasp. And it can just take all of the wounds.
I think we call that shield drones.
Yeah, it's like a new version of the same phenomenon, but with
Everyone
a cool
loved those.
stinger that gives them some melee punch. Jack says Poxmongers. That's right, Poxmongers has some cool stuff. Wonderful. Okay. We're going to call it there, guys. I think we've hit about an hour and a half. It has been a wonderful show. It's been amazing having so many of you here. It's been a giggle. Hopefully we'll have movement on balance and other interesting things to report back on. But if not, I guess we'll probably be talking about build up for ITT and stuff like that, won't we? Because we've got a training weekend this weekend. We're going to get in the shed, lose to Lee Churchwood a few times, learn some stuff. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a great time, and we can talk a bit about that.
Painted a reanimator while we're sat
And don't
here.
forget to pray to the Data Slate gods every night, guys, until Thursday.
Yeah, 100%. Please pray for balance. Pray for all things good for you. Obviously, we are Six Plus. We are here making new content. Do give us a like and subscribe. If you want to join in on our Patreon, we've got that up and running on the YouTubes. Just keep on supporting us as well as you can. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you all again next time. Bye-bye.